Hey everyone, and welcome to 1.21 Jigowatts. I am Peter, that is Connor. I had more oomph in my voice there than I normally do. I was caught off guard with myself. But this is our trailer talk show in which we get a bunch of trailers released over the last week or two, and we talk about them, and at the end of the episode we'll pick our favourite, but mostly we'll talk about the trailers and sort of, are the movies looking good, or the trailers themselves well put together. It kind of varies which elements we talk about with each trailer, if something stands out, or if something's particularly bad, or something particularly good. But yeah, let's just look ahead and see what movies are coming, see what looks good.
Yeah. Quite a lot this week.
Yeah, it's a reasonable amount, and at least one which is very because trailers that we get usually, unless they're small, tend to be very predictable because we'll hear buzz about them beforehand. One of them this week I would never have called this time last week in a million years.
Yeah, this time last week we didn't know this existed,
which is impressive given that it's a franchise movie.
Yeah, it is quite impressive.
So we'll definitely talk about it in the news as well when we record that straight after this. Look forward to that. But yeah, so without further ado, we'll get in. I think the big headlining trailer of the week, although arguably the surprise one is the biggest one just because it was a surprise, but we'll start off with Spider-Man Far From Home, which of course is the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming, which is the MCU version of Spider-Man. And Mysterio's the villain, and Spider-Man's with these classmates to go to Europe for a vacation, for a school trip.
You say villain.
Yes.
He doesn't really do anything villainous.
In general, or in this trailer?
In this trailer.
Okay, that's fair. But
yeah. So I mean, I'm just saying. It's not giving me a scope of him as a villain yet.
I feel like there's probably dozens and dozens of superhero trailers where maybe the first one doesn't actually show the villain doing anything villainous yet.
No, that's fair. I wasn't criticising it. I was more criticising just you.
What, my assumption that Mysterio, the classic villain from Spider-Man, is going to be the villain in the next Spider-Man movie?
They could subvert your expectations. He's
fighting Spider-Man in the trailer.
Semantics.
You see him in his fishbowl glory in the trailer.
Semantics.
This is the weirdest point you could have started off with. Of all the things you could have chosen to discuss to begin with, you picked this.
Yeah, I know. Just, I thought I'd throw you a curveball. Make sure you're on the ball.
I'm on the ball. You're not even looking at the ball. You're in another building staring at a French fry. Right, anyway.
Ooh, French fries.
Spider-Man Far From Home. It kind of looks what you expect from a sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming. Aunt May's in the secret now and working with Spider-Man. There's more jokes about Marissa Tomei being attractive as Aunt May, because we can't stop joking about that. But I was impressed to see Fishbowl. I mean, I was happy to see that Peter and MJ there's more actual progression in their relationship in the trailer. Other than that, though, I'm just glad that it feels like this, another teen movie. Not like the film another teen movie, or not another teen movie, not like that one. But it's because one of the things I liked about Homecoming so much was that it was actually a teenage coming of age story that just happened to be Spider-Man.
Yeah, sure.
Which fits what Spider-Man should be in a lot of ways, at least in early story Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I think this continues that trend. The big Marvel things that it adds in here is that Nick Fury seemingly shows up and kind of recruits him. And Nick Fury's there. There's you see Maria Hill from behind.
Yeah, I think she confirmed that it's her, right?
Yeah, she did. In fact, it was already, everyone knew she was already in the movie. Like that was already confirmed as a thing.
Fair enough.
But she just confirmed that when we see her from behind, that it's her in the trailer. Yeah. So that's good. It looks, if you like Spider-Man Homecoming, this looks like it'll tick the same boxes.
Yeah, it looks more of the same. Yeah.
I have seen speculation that Nick Fury might not actually be Nick Fury.
Of course.
Just based on the fact that we're dealing with Mysterio, and if Mysterio was trying to manipulate Spider-Man, perhaps, I don't know. It may not be. That's maybe just be baseless. The only thing to critique really about this trailer is that if now admittedly Sony aren't exactly Disney, so in the sense that they're not actually the MCU, but they're just connected to it. But if they had balls, they would have held off showing anything from this movie until May.
Well, yeah, but
They
Sony are like,
do that,
screw you, Disney. We're going to do our own thing, and I don't really blame them for it.
It's just obviously we knew Spider-Man was coming back. It's not a surprise. I think maybe the more notable thing is that there's no Now, admittedly, this would be easy not to put in the trailer if they wanted to cut around it, right? Because the trailer's only 2 minutes of footage, but there doesn't seem to be any kind of tone that suggests that everyone seems to remember what happened in Infinity War. Is that just me?
No, it kind of feels like nothing happened.
Which leads me to think that whatever the solution is going to be in Infinity War, or in Endgame rather, that it'll be
some kind of undoing.
Timey-wimey.
Yeah,
sort of stuff.
I wouldn't be too surprised.
Which is fine. If that's how it's fixed, that's how it's like they've done that before. It's okay if they fix it that way. But
yeah, sure. I mean, that wasn't a criticism. I just meant that's probably where we're going.
Yeah, that's okay.
The other thing I thought was notable to me is they seem to be borrowing from the latest PS4 game, A Touch, with the white spider emblem.
What was that?
It had the new suit he had. It had white legs. I'm sure it did.
Even the black suit?
No, the one that had the gliding bit on it.
Oh right, okay. Fair enough.
Has I don't know if it was an entirely white spider, but the legs are definitely white.
Yeah, he's got his suit from the first film to begin with, but he seems to not be able to, either not take it with him or not be able to.
Yeah.
And he ends up with the black and red one, and then presumably this new one by the end.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, a screenshot. So the legs are all white, and it has a white outline around the body, but the body is still black. But it's kind of at least closer to the other version that I was on about. It stuck out to me because I'm just not really used to seeing white on the front of that suit still.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, people hated the Spider-Man suit in the PS4 game. I thought it looked alright.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. That wasn't, again, not a criticism, just something I noticed. I'm okay with it.
No, that's good.
I mean, still think the spider's a bit too small, but you know.
I think the critique I've heard online is that some people are upset that you see Jake Gyllenhaal's face because Mysterio, you're not supposed to see his face. And I get it. I get why
it's Judge Dredd all over again.
Yeah, it's this 95 Judge Dredd again. Yeah. You've got Jake Gyllenhaal. They want to show Jake Gyllenhaal's face. I don't think they're ever going to get around that because they're Hollywood.
Yeah.
Again, if they had balls.
There's not much to really judge him on here, but he seems to be hamming it up.
He's hamming it up. He's got one line.
Yeah.
But I mean, nothing about this trailer was a red flag to me. Everything looked like, this is kind of what I want from a...
It felt like more of the same from the last one, which doesn't get me that excited because I thought it was good enough, but I didn't love it. But I mean, for everyone who did, I don't see why you'd have a problem with anything in this.
No. Flash is still being a dick. Ned's still being Ganky adjacent. And yeah, so...
Sure.
Cool. So moving on to John Wick 3 or Chapter 3 Parabellum. It looks like a John Wick movie.
Hell yeah, it does.
What I will say that stands out to me though about this is that it looked a little bit visually more interesting to me. There was a lot of like colourful lights and things like that in some of these shots.
The opening shot looking down on the city with all the purple is gorgeous.
There's quite a few pleasing shots. Not the last two didn't have any like good cinematography because they did, but I don't recall them being as colourful, I suppose.
I don't either. I'm just glancing now. There's a shot early on with him running through an alley with the lights behind him kind of changing, and it seems to stand out much more than the last two did, at least from memory. Maybe I'll rewatch them and change my mind on that.
Yeah, but so I mean, obviously you can't really talk about the plot of this one without kind of spoiling where the second one ended because it seems to follow right, like literally from the minute the second one ended. Where he's told that he's being, excommunicated and there's going to be a bounty on his head, but he's got an hour before it kicks in. He's got an hour before that's its open season on him. So the trailer kind of revolves around that a little bit, where we get to this point where Ian McShane's kind of like, okay, it's almost time.
It's the countdown to it happening, yeah.
And he's quickly trying to get his like wounds from the last movie fixed and healed before he has to fight his way out the city. This is the perfect plot for another John Wick movie.
Yeah, it is.
Like him against everyone, and I think it sums up quite nicely. Obviously, I mean, I expect him to win, but if it's the last one, he does go down dying at the end. Yeah. But I do. My favorite line in the trailer is when Ian McShane's talking about his odds. And someone says, "Oh, what do you think his odds are?" And he's like, "Well, you've got every assassin in the city wanting a piece of that, however many billion bounty on his head. I'd call it 50-50." And I was like, because it's John Wick. And I was like,
yeah.
And do you know what I like about that?
And also, not just that it's John Wick, they're all fighting each other for it as well, presumably. There'll be some...
Very possibly, but even if they're not, what I like about that line is that it both sells John Wick as how much of a badass he is, but also just how monumental the challenge is. So it makes both the villainous side of this and John Wick himself both look strong and look good.
Yeah.
So,
And as you'd expect, there's some great action sequences going in there. Looks like he kills a dude with a book, so that's one up on a pencil, frankly.
I can see that. I can see. Well, it depends what book it is.
I mean, it's a reasonably sized book.
Because if you whip out your Gotham Central omnibus and whack someone over the head with it, I'm not that surprised that it kills someone.
No, that's fair. I mean, sure.
If he does it with a little paperback, though, a little...
Okay, that's crazy impressive, yeah, sure.
A little copy of, what's a small book?
Dracula.
Yeah, it's a little small paperback of Dracula. It's 400 pages. If he kills someone with that, then I'll be impressed.
Yeah.
I think you'd have to choke someone with that, though. You have to shove it in the throat. I don't think you could whack someone to death with that.
I don't think you could, no.
But
or if you did, it would take a lot of effort and a lot of hits.
You'd have to do it sort of like from the top of the book, so you're using the force of the spine, because that won't buckle the same way that the side will.
That's true.
We're thinking about this too much.
Also, John Wick on a horse. I'm in.
Yes. Also on a motorbike. There's going to be a motorbike chase sequence. Which could
there's
be fun.
dogs.
There's dogs. There's katanas. There's all sorts of things. Only slight cause for concern is Halle Berry is in this.
I don't have a problem with her inherently.
I'm having a hard time thinking of her being good in something.
Sure, but I don't usually think she's that bad. Usually she's just kind of there for me. There are examples of her being bad, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's called the X-Men movies.
Yeah. But most of the time I see her, she's just kind of there. Like she has no impact.
So it doesn't worry that someone's going to be there that has no impact. There's someone who's...
I am assuming that the fantastic cinematography and action will raise it up and she won't matter.
Okay.
Well, not a character, but her performance won't drag it down.
All right. Still concerned about Halle Berry, but the trailer looks pretty good though. Hard to find fault. Yeah. Somehow we've never talked about the first two before, which maybe leads me to think that some influxes of 1 and 2 might be on the cards.
I would not be opposed to that. When's this coming out again?
Oh, I can't remember. I feel like
did it tell me at the end of the trailer? May.
Yeah. There you go. That's plenty of
we
time.
can get those in. Yeah.
Plenty of time. So next up, here's the surprising trailer though. Arguably the headliner because of the surprising nature of it.
Before we even talk about what this is, this is one that I hate that you had to see on the internet because you know that you know what it is before when you click on it to watch it. If this is something you see in the cinema for the first time, you don't know this exists, and it just plays out, and you're like, "What is this?" And then it gets to it.
Nah, I'll dispute that because I'd have known from the first few seconds.
Okay, fair enough, but
the music is very recognizable.
But my point, but you're like, what? You're going, wait, what? That sort of.
Sure, you want the confusion of why are they using this? Because some trailers have used soundtracks from other movies before. It's not impossible that that's the case of what's happening. But what we're talking about here is a trailer for the new Ghostbusters. That's right. There's a new Ghostbusters. Not only is there a new Ghostbusters coming, there's a new Ghostbusters coming next year, summer 2020. This is coming out. This is a proper teaser trailer in the traditional sense of teaser trailer. And what do I mean by proper teaser trailer? Most trailers that are called teaser trailers now are just actual trailers that they've called teaser because it's the first one. Because they're planning to do like 4, so they call the first one a teaser trailer. That's basically what a lot of teasers are now. This is a proper teaser trailer, and by that I mean it's very simple and it's containing footage that was shot just for this trailer. It's not like something that's from the movie. They could insert it into the movie if they wanted to, but they shot this. They have not shot the movie yet. They went out and they shot this purely as a trailer, just to say, "Hey, this is coming. Be excited." And it's got the music there from Ghostbusters, the creepy music, and then it ends with just the Ecto ones under the sheet, and you can see the logo.
Yeah, the logo. The sheet just ripples up in the wind, and the logo's there, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, that's all it is.
This is a thing.
So,
what the hell?
The day before this trailer hit, there was news that Jason Reitman, who is the son of Ivan Reitman, who directed the original 2 Ghostbusters movies, is going to be directing a Ghostbusters movie that is set in the original universe of 1 and 2. That's pretty notable. But of course, there's been, Ghostbusters 3 was in development hell for decades. You don't necessarily believe it that much. You're like, okay, sure, I'll believe it when I see it. The very next day, here's a teaser trailer.
Yeah.
All right, okay, they're serious.
Yeah.
They're very serious.
It's kind of crazy because I don't have a huge attachment to Ghostbusters. I don't massively care.
Which is weird for someone in our age group.
It is. No, I acknowledge that.
Mm.
It's not that I think it's bad. I just don't have an attachment. Um, but this is crazy that this exists and no one knew about it till a day before a teaser trailer.
No,
What the hell?
I'm impressed by that. The teaser trailer is really effective. It's really good in what it does. It's just, hey, here's the music, here's the actual one, it's coming. There's no confirmation as to the original cast being in this yet, although there's... I think the assumption is they probably will be. I think the rumor is right now that it's going to focus on a new generation, like, teens and,
So it'll
young
have them
people.
in a mentor capacity,
Yeah.
some sort, maybe.
Obviously, the one thing that is worth mentioning, it's a shame that this had to wait until after Harold Ramis passed away, because we're going to have 3 out of 4 at best of the Ghostbusters, but this is interesting. Joe, what makes me laugh about this though is that it took 1991 till it took 25 years, literally 25 years, for a Ghostbusters movie to happen after Ghostbusters 2. It ended up not being 3, it ended up being that reboot that we got, and after that one came out and kind of, I wouldn't say outright tanked.
Yeah,
but
it didn't bomb, but significantly underperformed.
Yeah, well, it lost money. I think ultimately it lost money because they spent like $200 million on a Ghostbusters movie, and that was maybe...
Did it cost them that much?
They spent a fortune on that movie. And the sad part is, see, when you watch it, you can't tell. It doesn't feel like a movie with that budget.
I never watched it because, like I said, I've not really got an attachment to Ghostbusters. It didn't look that good from the trailers. Nothing was grabbing me, so I just didn't bother.
There's some things that are okay about it, and there's some things that are really bad about it. It's kind of a really mixed bag. The biggest problem is Paul Feig, and his direction style, where he just kind of lets the actors improv for a long time and doesn't know when to cut away from a joke.
Goes on too long.
Yeah, there's several jokes in that movie that would have been really funny had the scene ended after the joke.
So what you're saying is, so this tells me it's less of a directing problem and more of an editing problem.
Well, but he's making those choices.
Well, I mean, arguably, sure, but
I don't think it's
still.
arguable. No, this is Paul Feig. He's done this in all of his movies with Melissa McCarthy. This is their trend. This is why I hate Melissa McCarthy movies. It's this style of comedy where the joke gets drawn out forever. There are several moments in that movie where, like, if you just cut away after the punchline, it'd be like, oh, that was a funny little joke. Instead, you have characters stand there and repeat the punchline for about 10 seconds and explain the joke to everyone, just to drill it in home, which is something the original Ghostbusters didn't do. It was, if you watch the original Ghostbusters, it's a very witty film. There's all these little one-liners that they're just little snipes. They're little snipes.
Yeah,
and they're really funny. So hopefully it has that. I mean, what do I want from a Ghostbusters movie? I mean, it's hard to say now. Like, it feels weird coming after that last one, but I mean, if you give me a film that has that wit, do give me something that's maybe a little more action orientated. I've often thought that you could do something with a bit more action in a Ghostbusters movie. Like, why not?
Sure, especially in today's age.
Yeah, you've got all these fun proton packs. You got the car. Like, you could do more with that stuff. So yeah, this is so weird that it exists, but
it's weird, isn't it?
As a teaser trailer, it's kind of perfect. It tells you it exists, gives you a bit of mood, and that's it.
Yeah, there's not really a lot to fault in it because ultimately there's not that much there.
Which is fine because that's what it is.
Yeah,
it's a teaser trailer.
Exactly. So it does its job. It gets in and it gets out. That's it. It does what it's supposed to do. So I mean, it as it's intended. The intention that it's supposed to have, it's kind of perfect for that.
Yeah. Bizarrely, the most recent film before this I can think of that had a proper teaser trailer, and by that I mean like just a short thing that was shot in advance so they could put a teaser out for the movie, was actually the 1998 Godzilla movie, because there's a teaser trailer for that where it was like a museum tour and Godzilla's foot came in and crushed a T-Rex skeleton and left. And that's not in the movie, it's just like a little thing on its own.
Yeah. I think the definition of teaser trailer has changed, not necessarily to... I know you mentioned how it was, it's just another trailer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think to some extent, sure, but to me, at least now, this is the exception to what a teaser trailer is, of course. For me, a teaser trailer is no more than 40 seconds. Maybe 45 at a push, but it is very specific. It is for a teaser trailer.
Just about every single thing called a teaser trailer breaks that what you just said.
No, it does. But I think what and I'm agreeing there is a trend that it's a 2-minute trailer and they're calling it a teaser trailer, and that's just trailer number one. But I think there are films that I've seen in the past few years that have had a teaser trailer be here's 45 seconds.
Okay, sure.
You get that a couple of months before a proper trailer. Those count, even if they're footage from the film.
Sure, like, it's not like a hard rule, but I do think of this as more of what a teaser trailer is supposed to be, because it is just a tease. That's all it is. There's other classic examples that aren't springing to mind, but like just The Shining's original trailer, I believe, was just the hallway filling up with blood, which is from the movie, but that's all it was that shot.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing I'm thinking of. Is like, here's like 20 to 45 seconds of just something that's okay. Though that's a tease, even though it's from the movie, right?
All right. So we'll move on. Nancy Drew and the Hidden Staircase got a trailer this week, starring young Beverly Marsh from.
Yes, not Molly Ringwald.
Not Molly. She looks so much like Molly Ringwald.
There was a bit in the thumbnail because when I first saw this, it was last night. It was late. I didn't see it popped up on YouTube. I was like, "Why is YouTube showing me?" And I was like, "I don't know this movie existed." I didn't see the 2019 next to it. I just saw the thumbnail, and I was like, "Molly Ringwald did a Nancy Drew movie that I didn't know about. What's this?"
Well, it's funny you say that because when I went to Google this to watch this, just before we started recording, one of the results underneath this trailer was a 2007 movie called Nancy Drew, starring Emma Roberts, which I had no idea existed. So, I mean, it's worth mentioning that before this trailer, I don't think I've ever consumed even an advertisement for anything Nancy Drew related. Never mind actual.
I'm familiar with what the property is.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I have never seen a second of anything.
No, me either.
Or read a page of anything. Read a second. How much you read in 1 second? I don't know. 5 words? How much does someone read in a second?
Depends on a person.
Depends on what the words are as well, I suppose. You got a lot of syllables.
It's true, yeah.
Onomatopoeia takes up a whole second.
I should hope so. Yeah.
If that lands there. So, but yeah, so it's a teen detective-y romp. You've got. I said Beverly Marsh because that's a character, and I don't know what the actor's name is off the top of my head.
I don't know. We should probably find out. She is the lead.
But it's her. So they're capitalizing the fact that she's kind of like the kid actor now.
Sophia Lillis.
There you go. She was also in Sharp Objects. She played one of the young versions in that of Amy Adams.
Yeah.
And which is interesting because it means she's now played the young version of both Amy Adams and Jessica Chastain.
I do think she looks more like Amy Adams than Chastain.
That's fair. But then those two was going to be Chastain when they cast her in it. They've had made the movie and then said, "Oh hey, who's a redhead we want as the adult version? Hey, Chastain would be good."
Yeah. Basically, it was just to get Matt on board.
Here's the thing: if they ever want to do like a biopic of Molly Ringwald, they should make it soon, and she can play teenage Molly
Absolutely, because, geez, right?
Yeah, like if they do it in, like, say, a couple of years' time, she can be at Breakfast Club age. And that'll be, she can be the one that is in all the movies of that time period.
There was genuinely, even when I'm watching this trailer, there's a couple of shots, especially when she's skateboarding and got the helmet on. Where I'm like, it's just Molly Ringwald. They've done some time travel shenanigans.
Has Molly Ringwald ever been on a skateboard?
I don't know.
Was there something about that image that went, "This feels Molly Ringwald"?
No, I don't know what it is. I think it's just the image. Like the distance from the camera, I don't know. It's specifically those shots specifically look like it.
Yeah, so there's like a supernatural haunted house thing going on, but she suspects that it's not real. So her and her friends are investigating, and she can pick locks, she can skateboard, she can drive cars, she can do a bit of Sherlocking with her brain because her mind works differently. They point that out.
Yeah,
that's kind of the gist of it. So it's going to be following the clues.
Yeah, it's pretty witty.
Yeah, honestly, like, it's funny that I've never seen any of this because the concept actually kind of appeals to me. I kind of like kid detective stuff like this, where they're getting into trouble and, solving a crime. I'm kind of into it, especially when it just sneaks slightly into horror, just a little bit.
Yeah, no, I get you. No, it kind of worked for me. There was I proper laughed at one point where I go, someone goes, "Oh, you committed all these felonies," and she goes, "They're not felonies if I'm not 18. I'm like, yeah, I'll allow it.
But some of the jokes did feel a bit more kiddie There was a few that were kind of like, yeah, this is a kid joke, not a.
Yeah. With the chemistry set thing.
Yeah, and she's pretending that she's going to drop it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just kind of like, okay, right.
Yeah, it's definitely riding that line.
So some of these are working for me, some of these aren't. It's hard to say if I think the final movie will be any good, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I'm down for checking it out, though, I think.
Yeah, okay.
There's enough there that I can see having a decent time.
Yeah, it's out in March, so I mean...
Yeah.
Not waiting very long. So, yeah. I think if it reviews well, I'll probably give it a try, but it's not something I'll take the plunge on without knowing...
That makes sense, yeah.
Some opinions first. But hey, so next up we got a trailer for the Hummingbird Project, which is Jesse Eisenberg, Michael Mondo's in there, Salma Hayek, and it's a movie about building a pipeline to get the stock market figures, like, what was it, like a millisecond? Like,
1 millisecond faster. Because I think they were saying we get it at 15, everyone else gets it at 16.
Yeah, and because of that, they can make more money because they can make the choices just a split second. Just
yes.
a bit quicker. And there's a lot of stuff in this trailer where it'll cut to someone like in like a in the stock market, right? It's going, we just made $500 million in 20 seconds or something like that, and I'm like, this feels like they're jazzing this up, like.
Yeah,
it feels like they're jazzing it up. I mean, I don't know. I'm no expert by any means.
I think this trailer went way too far
and showed too much.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I mean, if this had stopped about halfway through, I'd have gone, yeah, that was probably the right length.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look bad. I don't think it looks good either, though.
Joe's bizarre to me about this is that this seems like it should be a fine little movie, but there were several moments in this trailer where it felt like, despite the fact that we have good or well-known actors, spread throughout this, there were several moments in this trailer where it kind of felt like it was a smaller production, and not. And when I say that, I don't mean, because obviously a smaller production can be fine, but it felt kind of like, instead of being the movie that actually gets nominated for awards, it feels like it's just been made by people that.
Do you know what it feels? There's a lot of stylistic things going on. It's trying to show us. It really feels like it's trying to be The Big Short.
Yes, but not doing anywhere near as well a job at it.
Yeah, but that's the tone it's trying to go for.
Yeah, I think that's what felt a little bit off to me. Was it didn't feel like it was quite hitting the tone that it was trying.
There was a moment where I assume in Wall Street or wherever it was, when something goes wrong and the guy just starts smashing his keyboard against the desk, and I'm like, this feels really extreme and out of nowhere. Like, I don't understand. Like, it's doing slow motion. This guy's smashing his keyboard. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I think actually to go back to my earlier point, I think to pinpoint what's feeling off about it was Salma Hayek. Not that she's bad, but every time because she's like the villain of the movie, she's the antagonist. The she's like in Wall Street, she's making money, and she's trying to like beat the others when she finds out what they're doing at their own game. Every time it cut back to her, it felt like a villain in a cheesy action movie, with a diabolical plan, with the sunglasses on, being like, "Oh, we will do it first, and we will have his head." I mean, that wasn't the line, but it felt like she was doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And it felt like it was kind of hammy for what it was doing. So yeah, not really feeling it. It feels a little bit off.
Yeah, I don't hate it though, but
yeah, it's not quite clicking together. Next trailer we got is High Life. Robert Pattinson's in this. This is a sci-fi movie. Where
is this the A24 one?
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is the one where I'm not entirely sure what it's about. Like it was throwing phrases at me, and at first it was like, okay, they decided to recycle people, and I'm like, okay, where are we going with this?
Yeah, one of the things that obviously you get the word, the quotes come up.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that came up was a sexy space thriller.
Yeah, and there was a couple of shots where there was kind of like, like the start of a seduction or something like that in space. It looks like the evil doctor, the scientist who's like doing this to them, ends up kind of manipulating and like sexually abusing some of the patients or something like that, or at least trying to seduce Robert Pattinson. And then as they learn what's actually happening to them, they might be some kind of a revolt or something.
Maybe. I'm very unclear about what the movie actually is beyond its tone.
Yeah, the tone's there. The tone's very well portrayed. The actual details of what's happening were very murky to me.
To a fault, actually, because sometimes that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when it's a bit of a higher concept movie like this, I want to have some grasp of what's happening. I don't want to just have tone. I want to know at least what I'm supposed to be getting from this.
Unless the point is that it's supposed to, even because the characters don't know, you're not supposed to know in the movie itself until, Act 3.
Yeah, maybe.
And if that's the case, then yeah, they shouldn't be revealing it in the trailer. But
yeah, it's a weird one because I don't think it's a bad trailer. It's clearly got style. It's well edited. The baby going dada throughout was really effective, and the way it used that into a rhythm for the trailer.
It felt like it had like a sort of ticking time bomb sort of feeling to it, in the sense that not so much that there's a literal like ticking element in the movie, just the sense that I get the feeling from this trailer that no matter what happens, they're all screwed and they're alone, and that the ending's going to be really sad.
Yeah,
right.
But at the same time, I feel like I just said the last one went too far, showed me too much.
Mm-hmm.
This one just needed to clear up a little bit more about what I'm actually going to watch, because I mean it's telling that we can't really describe what even the basic plot or premise of this movie is from this trailer.
They seem to be either on a space station or like a base on another planet somewhere.
Yeah.
And they're there to live, but someone's put them there for nefarious purposes. Maybe to breed specifically. Maybe. It's hard to
This is the thing. I feel like I didn't get enough to just to clarify the basics of what I can get going in.
Or at least to give us what what Paddleton knows at the start of the movie. Give us what he understands in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. I don't have a baseline to work from here. But it's definitely an interesting trailer and well edited.
Yeah, it didn't put me off watching it.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, sure.
I'm intrigued enough that I'll watch it, but and it's A24 who mostly put out things worth watching. Next up, we get a trailer. We got a bunch of Netflix trailers in a row actually. First up is I.O., which is actually already out at the time of recording, and the time this goes up, this will already have been out for a couple of days. But obviously, it's been about 2 weeks since the last trailer talk. I thought it was worth putting this in because it seemed the sort of movie we'd talk about. It's the sort of premise that we would discuss.
Yeah, if we'd done an episode of this last week,
yeah,
we'd have talked about it.
This would have been here, yeah. So this is Anthony Mackie and Margaret Qualley, who we mainly know from The Leftovers. Obviously, Mackie's been, Avengers, Civil War, and Captain America.
Pick, yeah.
A bunch of other stuff. But so this is the Earth has become toxic. No one can live here anymore. Everyone has fled to Io, which is the moon in Jupiter. Moon of Jupiter, not on Jupiter. You'll get moons on things. You know what I mean? So everyone's fled, and she's kind of been left behind. She's kind of living on her own. It's very Z for Zachary. I was getting Z for Zachary feelings at the start. In fact, when Mackie showed up from his like weird hot air balloon thing that he's got, I thought, are we just doing Z for Zachary? Is that what we're doing here as a story? But it's actually a little bit different in that there's a chance they can still leave. There's like one last like evacuation ship leaving. So the movie, once they've decided they're going to try and get there, it's going to be a journey through like radioactive like cities and stuff to get to the evac zone and hopefully make it. So could have a happy ending. It's already up on Netflix. The reviews have been kind of middling. Like there's this like charm to it, but it's not maybe hitting the high notes that it wants to hit.
So what you're saying is it's a Netflix movie.
It's a Netflix movie, yes. Not against watching it. Maybe this is one that I'll do a live watching of on one of the late night streams. But
yeah, it's one I'm in no rush to watch.
It's a shame because the premise is right up my alley.
It's the sort of thing where if I had time and there wasn't a significant handful of movies that I wanted to watch before the awards season ends, then I might have checked this out.
Which most notably is when we will be doing our awards for 2018 for movies.
Yeah, it is.
Hence why we want to get movies in before then, so we've got
we want a nice solid list.
Yeah, it's a nice top 10 that's well rounded and full of surprises. But I like the actors and I like the premise, so if it's not great, that's a shame. But
it could be okay.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it.
Maybe it'll be a fun enough time.
Next up, another Netflix movie. I've put these in order that they're coming out, although I don't remember the dates off the top of my head. Next up is Polar, which is...
Yeah, this one is January, I want to say 26th.
Yeah. So, yeah, this week, basically.
25th, damn it.
Which is, yeah, that's the Friday. That makes sense because that's the same day that Resident Evil 2 remake comes out.
Oh, of course you would. You're the bloody worst. Save it for 1080.
All I said, that's the day it comes out. That's why I know that's a Friday. That's all I said.
Still too much.
It's coming. Anyway, so Polar is based on a comic book. Mads Mikkelsen is like an ex-assassin or ex I don't know, assassin, I guess.
Assassin seems to work.
Yeah. And he's trying to live a quiet life in the mountains, small town, and he sort of befriends his neighbour, played by Vanessa Hudgens, and he is targeted by people that he used to work with or for because they just want to wipe him out because they don't let... At least from the trailer, the impression I got is that no one really retires. Once you're out, you get killed.
Yeah, but the narration at the start, or probably dialogue, I'm not sure exactly, was, I think it was saying that, you know, if someone is killed, then their share of their retirement fund kind of goes back into the company and someone else gets it, basically.
It gets split between the rest of the assassins who are still working, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, hey, if he's, yeah, I think it was like 2 million or something stupid like that. It's quite small, is what I remember. Relatively speaking.
Small for these plots, yes.
Yes, so, you know, for these plots.
I'll take 2 million, thank you very much.
Oh, me too. But for this sort of thing, 2 million felt relatively small. Is why I'm saying it. And it's like, okay, well, if he dies, then we kind of get that 2 million. So let's kill him. Seems like a reasonable plan.
But as per usual, he's a badass and
he is Mads Mikkelsen. So what do you expect?
He fights aggressively, and eventually they get really dirty and start harming people in the town and innocent people. So he becomes kind of this anti-hero. Well, you know, one of the lines in the trailer is that you're not a good person, but you're doing a good thing. Implying that he's got a bit of a dark past, but what he's doing now is a bit more noble, maybe a redemptive story of some kind. Yeah. It looks okay. I'd be curious to watch it, but it's not like amazing looking.
There are things in this trailer that I love, like the bit towards the end where he shoots the canister and there's the gas smoke everywhere, in the little hallway. I thought that looked great.
Yeah, because you told me the comic, he's a silent character. He never says a line in the book.
Yeah, so I looked up when we heard about what this was, because I found out about this really before the trailer came out on Twitter. Someone mentioned it as a comic adaptation, so I googled it. The original thing was a webcomic in which there was no dialogue whatsoever, but apparently they did republish it under Dark Horse with some dialogue added back in. I don't know how extensively.
I kind of wish, like... I get not making the whole movie silent, but I kind of wish he was silent.
At least to a point, yeah.
But he talks several times in this trailer, so I mean that feeling is just kind of...
He still feels quiet.
Yeah, but no more quiet than tons of other like stoic action heroes.
Yeah, sure.
But there's nothing special about him, though. Like, that would have been special if he was quiet the whole time.
Yeah, it would have been. It seems all over the place in its color palette. There are some bits that are, you know, crazy bleak, all greys and, you know, greys and whites, and there's other points where it's this vibrant, popping yellows and greens.
If I was to guess, is that it'll be grey and dull until he kind of starts up again. Like when he like sort of finds his mojo and starts being an action hero, that's when it'll start popping. That's what I think should happen.
Yeah, fair enough.
Either that or it'll be the villains that will bring all the colour. So every time it cuts to the villains, they'll be all colourful.
Yeah, it could be a case of everything that's in his home in this, you know, in the mountains is just kind of bleak and dull, and it's just mundane. And then whenever it's assassin related stuff, it's just, you know, hyper colour, insane stuff.
Yeah. Definitely not watching this the day it comes out, because as previously mentioned, it's the day that Resident Evil 2 remake comes out. So I'm down to watch it though at some point, because
it's also the day that a Netflix show launches, right? Kingdom's that day.
Yes, which we'll be doing the first episode of course, that day, because I think we are, at least anyway. I've not looked at the schedule.
As far as I'm aware, we are.
Yes. So yeah, that's Polar. So it's an action movie. Doesn't look that original in terms of premise, but the action does look kind of interesting from the trailer. So Next up, Velvet Buzzsaw, an all-Netflix movie. This is starring Jake Gyllenhaal, who we were talking about earlier. Very different role for him, though. It's directed by Dan Gilroy, notably who wrote and directed Nightcrawler, also starring Gyllenhaal, which is a very good movie. Joe, I knew nothing about. I knew there was a movie called Velvet Buzzsaw with Dan Gilroy for Netflix. Right, I've known that for a while, just because we do the news, and I remember talking about it.
Yeah.
I don't remember ever reading where the premise goes, though.
I remember it being about an art critic.
Yeah, but I don't remember ever reading, like, the second half of this trailer and where it goes. I don't remember ever knowing any of this.
Me either.
And to the point where I didn't, like, when that started happening, I was legit shocked that that's what this movie was. Because I didn't see it going that way.
The first half of this trailer, I was not feeling at all.
Yeah, because it was just kind of like, he's this quirky art critic, and it's all this modern art, sculptures and paintings that are kind of abstract and weird and all this sort of stuff. And then, like, they get paintings. So the plot of the movie seems to be that they get paintings from this guy who died. This guy passed away, but he had all these paintings that he'd done over time, before he died. And they start putting them on show, but they're supernatural paintings that start bringing the art to life, and the art starts killing people. And Joe, the weird thing about this is that if this wasn't Dan Gilroy and Jake Gyllenhaal, I would assume this is going to be a shitty horror movie.
I still feel like it kind of is.
It still may be, but there was like weird, like, artistic moments in the back half of the trailer where the artistic creations that are killing them are so, like, mental in the design, almost like Evil Within or like Silent Hill-esque, but in a modern art way. That I was like, this might be amazing, but it might be terrible, and I'm not actually sure which.
Yeah, I have to be honest, I wasn't really feeling it, which is because I love Nightcrawler. I did.
I love Nightcrawler. Do you know something? I am excited to watch this. You know, good or bad, I am fascinated by what this is. Fascinated.
Yeah. This is February 1st, so, I mean, Netflix seemed to be making an effort with their movie, because you had I.O., which was this week just gone. Next week is Polar.
And then the week after this.
The week after is this. I mean, none of them look just cheap, schlocky shit like some Netflix movies do.
No, there seems to be a standard. And there's obviously now, obviously, we've had good directors make movies at Netflix that have turned out not to be great before.
Yes, looking at you, Mute.
Yes, the less said about Mute, the better.
Are we doing a worst movies award?
Wasn't planning it. You didn't appreciate my joke there.
I did. I just brushed right over it because I'm angry at that movie.
Come on.
Still.
Left said we don't talk about Mute. The first rule of Mute is we don't talk about it. That's funny. Come on.
I just don't want to give you the satisfaction, to be quite honest with you.
But yeah, no, I am fascinated to watch Velvet Buzzsaw. I think it might. It's either going to be a crazy genius movie that's really weird, or it's just going to be a mess. And
yeah,
I'm excited to find out.
I'm currently leaning towards expecting a mess, and if it's not, I will be very pleasantly surprised.
It might be a glorious mess that I love as well. That's a possibility.
Because
the one thing I'll say about this trailer, I don't think you'll deny this, that it's got energy.
It has energy, yes. I don't know if it's energy I like, but it has energy.
It's got energy. Next up, also Netflix, Paddleton, and this was again a week or two later after Velvet Buzzsaw. This was February. I think it was maybe 22nd or something like that. A couple of weeks later.
To the end. 22nd, good guess.
There we go. So Paddleton, which seems to refer to the game they play, which is just racquetball, but off the side of a building. Yeah.
You got to hit it into the barrel, right?
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, I think that was the aim. Is they hit the ball against the building and it's got to bounce into the barrel that they've got there.
Ah, okay. I've never heard of this game before, so I'm only going off what I saw in the.
Me either.
Trailer,
but that was the impression I got from watching it. But I mean, I could be wrong.
So, this is Mark Duplass and Ray Romano. Mark Duplass gets a terminal diagnosis, and it's basically a road trip with these two friends who are middle aged, and they're going to get like his medication. And Joe, it's basically that tone that you get for a lot of these movies where it's like a sad story about someone dying, but it's also a comedy. So they kind of balance those elements.
Yeah, it's one of those where he's like, do you know what? I'm dying. I don't want to go through all the shitty stuff at the end where I can't move.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just kind of skip that and just let me die instead of prolonging it. So I can already see the ending of where, oh, he goes through all this stuff with his friend, and he's like appreciates life. He's like, do you know what? Let's fight it. Live. See how long we can last. See what we
Yeah.
can get out of it.
I think there's nothing wrong with this trailer necessarily. The only problem with it is that I feel like I've seen similar movies a few times
It
before.
feels very predictable, and I don't know. There's nothing that makes it stand out uniquely to me.
You're basically here for the two actors if you're here for anything.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look bad by any means. Nothing about it was like, oh, this looks bad, terrible or.
No, I'm sure it's fine. It might be very good, but
because Netflix already did a good version. Well, that wasn't the same thing. It wasn't Terminal, but the Fundamentals of Caring, which was Paul Rudd with the disabled kid. Like I feel like that was a really strong, heartwarming little comedy.
Stands up still as one of Netflix's best movies, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's in the top 5 for sure. That was really good. Yeah. So, but that same tone is why I bring that up. It's a very similar tone.
Yeah, like the bittersweet comedy.
Yeah, the bittersweet comedy. There you go. Yeah. In a nutshell. Next up, we had a trailer for a movie called Little Woods. I remember talking about this on the news at some point. It's Tessa Thompson and Lily James, and they're struggling money-wise, so Tessa Thompson ends up selling pills to kind of fund things. And he gets them into trouble. There's, the drug dealers in the area are not happy that she's doing this.
Yeah.
There's some wit to it. I guess a really kind of interesting tone they're shooting for here, where there's kind of the darker side of it, but there's also this comedy angle to it.
I think the pair of them have good chemistry.
They do. I will admit though, I'm not feeling like super enthused by it either.
Me either. I just wanted to start with something positive.
It's weird because I like Tessa Thompson especially, and it's doing all these things, with the wit and stuff. But ultimately, her selling pills, like nothing about that story, at least in this trailer, looks that exciting.
Do you know what was my biggest takeaway from this trailer?
Mm-hmm.
Is that we're at that point in the year again that we had last year, where it's just Tessa Thompson every time we do a trailers episode, because we had her last time. We got one this time.
There's only one so far. We can't call it the same trend yet.
Well, I mean, that's 2 in a row.
Is it?
Well, she was in Men in Black.
Okay, sure, yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, so we had one last time.
2 in a row, all right.
Got one this time. Yeah, no, it's starting to feel like, okay, are we doing that again? Is it this time of year?
But yeah, so Little Woods. I don't have a whole lot to say about it, to be honest. It looks kind of
not a great trailer. Doesn't mean it'll be a bad film, but I don't know. The trailer was kind of mediocre. It didn't have much style to or flow to the trailer, really.
Yeah,
very very basic.
Which takes on a final trailer of the week, which is called Hotel Mumbai, and this is Indian Die Hard, as you called it before we started.
Yeah, I stand by that.
Do you know the weird thing about it is, though? This is actually my biggest problem with the trailer, honestly, is that it starts off by telling me it's based on a true story, and then gives me this Die Hard-esque story, and I'm like, I feel weird now trying to enjoy this, that you've just told me this really happened.
Yeah, just let me enjoy the Die Hardness.
Like, telling me that these terrorists actually, came in and shot innocent people right before you show me that happening in a movie, I'm just like, well, now I'm not. I can't get into this in a fun action movie way. Which, honestly, the plot of this movie is that it's a big hotel in Mumbai, and terrorists show up, and Dev Patel's in there. You got Jason Isaacs as one of the guests. You've got what's his face? Armie Hammer is one of the guests as well. And it's about the employees of the hotel trying to save the guests and try and help the situation as a team. And it's like, this is a really good idea for a movie. Like, I get why you make this, but telling me it's based on a true story, and then and to its credit, I'm not saying it makes light of the fact that it's killing people. And it's a very dark when the trailer starts doing that. I guess it's a very dark tone.
Yeah, it's not a fun action movie.
But I couldn't help but feel like the actual plot and why I would typically want to watch this movie feels at odds with the tone and the fact that it's based on at least partially a true story. Yeah. So I don't know, if it made me feel weird.
I get that. Do you know something I appreciate about the trailer, though? And more just about the movie as a whole? It's obviously, it's set in India. Mm-hmm. It's mostly an Indian cast. But, the first thing I see is Armie Hammer's name, right?
Yeah.
And he's right at the start of the trailer. I'm like, oh, okay. Is it one of these movies? And then it's kind of not. He's not really there that much.
At least in the trailer, it's hard to judge, who gets the
could,
focus.
it could be wrong in the movie, but at least the way they're marketing it is they're aware that. I mean, they want to be his name there to draw people in, clearly, because that's why he's right at the top. He's one of the first things you see.
Yeah.
But he's far from the focus of the trailer.
And it makes sense. There's guests, obviously, from everywhere in the hotel. It's a hotel, but
that's how it works.
But yeah, I felt weird. I felt like this could be just a fun action movie that's kind of Die Hard in a hotel, but with all the normal like employees of the hotel being the ones that are trying to be the heroes and not like an action hero, and that's a fun concept. But if it feels weird that do you know what it felt like? Remember that movie July 22 on Netflix?
Yeah,
right, about the terrorist shootings. That was also a very serious trailer, and I mean I wasn't necessarily on board watching a movie about that, but obviously it treated the story very, very darkly. But that at least, like, the entire movie felt like, no, this is a very dark event. It's a very dark, and that's all it is like, it's just, there's nothing about this that...
I'm not supposed to be enjoying the action.
Yeah. Whereas with this, it felt like, no, you're meant to be enjoying the suspense and, like, the heroics of it. And I'm like, I don't know, it just feels, like, weird. Don't tell me this is based on... Even if it is, just don't tell me that at the start.
Yeah, I get it.
Because as soon as it's them, like, jumping and dodging bullets,
you feel like they should be treating it with more respect.
Yeah, and it's not
that it's disrespectful.
No, it's just, I think just making the movie in this, not tone necessarily, but I guess it's kind of tone. Just making a movie that feels like an action movie.
Yeah,
feels like it's at odds with,
because like I said, it feels like Die Hard.
Yeah, I don't want movies about lots of people getting shot to just be action. Like that's fine to be an action movie, but I don't want that to be based on a real thing. Once it's based on a real thing, it makes it feel murky.
It does, yeah.
I can't just... Because when I'm watching a movie where tons of people get killed, I'm usually enjoying it because it's a movie, and the death in movies can be fun.
But in the back of your head, you're like, how many people really died during this?
Yeah, it feels, you got feeling the pit of your stomach. It's like,
Yeah.
So, some people really died, and now this is meant to be entertaining.
Yeah.
And even July 22nd I thought was far too soon. Like, I think, okay, do a movie about that. You could do a serious story about what happened that day, but do it in 50 years. Like, don't do it a few years later. I mean, that's obviously, very opinion to opinion, but...
yeah, I feel like 50 is necessary.
Sure, whatever.
I felt that's a bit far, but I mean, 20 at least.
You know what I mean? That just feels like, I don't know if... Yeah, I don't know. Anyway...
And I know I just said 20 at least, and that does mean that we're like 2 years away from 9/11 movies of that style by what I just said there. So I take back 20 because that feels too soon still. Yes,
in 5 years, which when it happened twice, felt damn too soon at the time.
Yeah,
might I add. Yeah, so I don't know. That's weird. Anyway, that's all the trailers this week. So
quite the gauntlet, wasn't it?
Yeah, now we get to pick our favourite of the bunch. Which is an interesting question this week, because I feel like there's a few candidates for just being well-rounded in terms of decent trailer, good-looking movie. There's a couple of those. I think some of the heavy hitters fall into that. I think Spider-Man and John Wick both kind of fall into that. Both solid trailers, show what they need to show, movies look good. Straightforward. Then you've got things that maybe surprise you. Maybe you thought Nancy Drew looked better than you thought it would. You're like, maybe I could be into that. Maybe Velvet Buzzsaw is just weird enough that you're like, you know what, that was shocking and surprising enough that I've got to give it points. Or maybe Ghostbusters 3 wins because it's just like, this exists and it was the biggest
surprise
event.
Factor.
Yeah, it's the event of the week. Which is why for me I think I'm going to pick Ghostbusters 3 because I do think it's a good teaser just because it's simple and just does what it needs to do and no more.
Yeah,
but it's also the event feeling of it where it's like, whoa, okay.
Sure. I'm going to go with John Wick. I think you undersold that trailer there because I think it's excellently edited. The music choice is interesting. I think it has a great flow to the trailer. Plus, I'm just excited for the movie.
Yeah, there you go. That brings an end to trailer talk for this episode. Of course, let us know what you thought of the trailers in the comments and what your favourite was, so on. Now, what do I want to tell you about at the end of this one? Because I always plug some stuff. I tell you about Patreon, of course, patreon.com/MailFuzzTV if you want to support us. We have a merch store now as well. There'll be links in the description to the merch stores.
And if you're sitting there going, "Why do you have a merch store?" Blame the listeners.
Yeah, people ask for shirts and hoodies, so this was popular demand. But there's a US store and a UK store, separate stores. You can click in the links below and have a look at what's on offer should you wish to buy any of our merch. But yeah, so I'll tell you about that. Obviously, Movie News is back. That'll be back probably the same day this goes up, actually, later on. So you can look forward to that. And you can, we've got a lot of movie reviews planned for the next, like, say 4 or 5 weeks, because we're building up to our own movie awards, our own top 10s of 2018. The plan is to try and squeeze in some movies that we've missed as some extra reviews. How many we get through versus how much we've got planned is up for debate, but we do have about 5 or 6 of them planned.
We would like to get through all of them, but stuff may go wrong.
But that is the hope. That is the hope. So yeah, we're gearing up. The plan is to have the movie awards stuff go up around the same time as the Oscars happening. That is
I believe at the moment our plan is to record them the same day as the Oscars.
Is it? Okay, so it'll be the day after then.
Yeah.
The day after for the first one, and then maybe a few days later for the top 10s. Because if you don't know how we do the awards, we did this last year, is we'll have one episode that is sort of, us talking about our favourite actors, actresses, cinematography, that kind of thing, and then we'll have our top 10 movies of 2018 as a second thing. So, and then the first one also has like most disappointing and, various other categories.
Mute.
No, it's not. That's not the most disappointing. But I'm not going to tell you what it is because that'll be in the video. So you can let us know what you thought of the trailers this week in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. As I said, go to Patreon. All these things help. Or buy merch. Also helps us if you want. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching movies, guys. And we will see you next time.